Good afternoon and welcome to the Living Well program. You can find us here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on KATB 89.3 in Anchorage as well as KJLP 88.9 in Palmer. You can also listen online at katb.org. Also be sure to check out our Facebook page at Living Well Radio, and you can still find us on iTunes and download that podcast and just listen at your convenience. Just search for Living Well. My name is Cammie, joined by Betty.
I'm here.
She's here. She is in the house.
I'm here.
Ready to rock and roll.
I'm not sure about that part, but I'm here.
You like rocking out. You got your headphones back on and...
Yeah, someone borrowed them.
Yeah.
They gave them back. I feel more professional now.
Do you? Uh-huh. Good. Listen, we have got Codey and Alexis Cline joining us in the studio. Say hi to everybody, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
In some ways, it kind of feels like we've done this before, doesn't it?
Is this kind of like deja vu?
It feels just, I don't know, it feels familiar.
It probably feels like home.
Yeah, let's
feels
just
like
say,
home.
at Living Well, we sometimes have some technical difficulties, don't we, Betty?
Occasionally, we make big mistakes.
We're still learning, but they were so gracious to come back and talk with us again, so we're super excited you guys are willing to fit that into your schedule. Welcome to Living Well.
Thank you.
Again.
Again. Listen, guys, I want you to take us back to the beginning of how you guys met. Tell us a little bit about yourself and just kind of give us the backstory of Codey and Alexis.
All right. Well, I've known you for 10 years now. Almost 10 years.
Wow. I have grandchildren older than that.
So it all started, I was on a school bus, headed to a football game, and this girl walks on, and she's just yapping her mouth off. And no one would ever believe that. But I asked this kid beside me, I said, "Who's that?" He said, "That's Alexis Akers. It's a bus driver's daughter." And my first remark about Alexis was, "Well, she's weird." And that was the start of it. And but we eventually became friends.
That was the start of love at first sight.
It was. We just didn't know it yet.
Yes.
And we stayed friends for a while there, and didn't really consider her as a potential romantic partner or anything like that until she shared this crazy idea that she's going to go to South Africa for 9 months. So that's my side of things. She's got a different spiel.
Really the first time that I always knew who Codey was. We had interactions and things like that, but he always joked with me that he was going to marry my mom, which was very weird when he asked me on a date. No, I remember being a sophomore, and we just got to talking one time, and he said something along the lines of, "Well, let's go to dinner." Okay, no problem. Night before the dinner comes around, I'm like, "Mom, I really don't want to go on this. I'm tired. It's been a long week at school and work." And she's like, "You've already told him yes, so you're going." And I'm like, little did I know he did not want to go on that either.
My mom also had to talk me into continuing the date.
Really?
So it's really our mom's fault that we're married.
So they get all the blame.
Exactly. And so we went on a date, and he went off to basic, and I carried on with my life, really and truly, junior and senior year. And then senior year, he came home, and we got to talking, and one thing led to another, and he asked me if I could go out on a school night. And I remember exactly what I told him. I said, "I am 18, 3 months from graduating, and 6 months from moving to another continent. Yes, I could go out on a school night."
I was just trying to be respectful.
He was being kind. You'll appreciate that when you have a daughter.
Yes.
And the young man comes along.
That's right.
And so he said that he did not want to leave coming back up here without knowing that I was going to be here when he came home. And I said, "Well, if you want to date me, you want to marry me."
Yeah, and I remember we were walking beside the river. There's one little river that goes through the center of our hometown. And I thought about it for about 5 minutes, and I thought being married to this girl wouldn't be the worst thing ever. So I said, "You know what? We'll go that route."
We'll go that route. 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
So romantic.
Just throw the
I love the deep thought in this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so I didn't say at the beginning why you guys are here, but Codey and Alexis are here to kind of talk to us about their journey. They're about to make a major life change. So I want you guys to tell us about that, but it has to do with the nonprofit of Global Year. But I want you to take us back, Alexis, to this crazy idea of going to Africa for 9 months. What led you to do such a thing?
So I grew up in church. I was raised in church. My mom took me to church. It was never a question, really. It was more of a rule. If it was Sunday, it didn't matter if you stayed the night with a friend. Either you're going to church with them or I'm coming to get you and we're going to church. And so that was just something that I always did. But I never really made that a life change for me. I knew all the right answers because I had heard all the Sunday school lessons. I did Awana, but it never captured my heart until my senior year in high school. And I went to a conference, and the speaker, his name was Matt Lawson, he just presented the gospel in such a way that it wasn't a special way. There wasn't any special effects or lightings. It was just plain and simple, and it hit me square between the eyes. And so I got saved that night, and then the next night, he really challenged the youth, but especially the seniors, to just ask God where He wants you next year. What college campus, what branch of the military, whatever that looked like. He just kind of challenged us. And as a senior in high school, I had already been accepted, had a dorm room. I was set to go in the fall. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to ask the Lord where He wants me. I already know He's going to say I'm going to Troy, but so I asked the Lord, and the Lord was like, I really want you to be uncomfortable. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, what does this look like? What do you mean uncomfortable? And so my youth minister and I had begun to just kind of look at some different camps, different like summer things, internships that I could do over the summer and still go to school in the fall. But I was like, no, this just, it doesn't seem like that's what I'm supposed to do. And really and truly, we stumbled upon Global Year. And I contacted Johnny, the president of Global Year, and I said, I would love to sit down with you, see what this is really about. I sat down with him and asked him probably 500 questions that night, and I ended up turning down my scholarship that I had received from Troy, withdrawing my registration and everything, and I moved to South Africa for 9 months to work with a school in South Africa.
Wow. Wow. So on your side of that story, Codey, had you been raised in a Christian home? Like, how did you receive this news of what she was about to do?
We have similar stories. We're from the Bible Belt. You go to church on Sunday. Everybody does that. And had a lot of head knowledge, but it never traveled to my heart. And I said the prayer, and I got dunked when I was 6 years old, but it was because my buddy had done it the week before. And everybody clapped for him. And, I kind of wanted some of that attention, too. So it wasn't real. And once I left home, I left the church as well. And when I really thought about these things and where I was, I eventually became an atheist. And that was just a logical conclusion of it. And I didn't want to force myself. I didn't want to be that atheist that just pushes his beliefs on everybody. I want to believe what I believe. You do what you want to do. But God kept hunting me down. And I can look back now at so many times that He was saying, Codey, come home. You're mine. I want you. And I just wouldn't. I really wouldn't. But one day, I came to Anchorage Baptist Temple, and it was just a fresh hit of God on me that He said, you know what, this is it. This is the last time I'm calling you, and then I'm done. And I heard that clearer than anything you can hear through your ears, really. And, I did a little bit by little bit. I said, all right, I'm going to try out this Bible stuff, see if it works. And God was just so gracious to me in that. And I got saved at ABT January 19th of 2013. And, it's just a surrender since then. And ever since then, it's really just been a step-by-step, this is what you got to do. And it started with, I want you to surrender your life to me. And then all of a sudden, it's, I want you to be in full-time ministry one day. I didn't even know what that looked like. I just started going to school for it. And one day I was sitting at my dinner table just praying about some other things, and God out of nowhere just said, when you get out of the military, you're going to move to Woodstock, Georgia. And I didn't know what that meant at all. I mean, I knew Global Year was there, but we were not. I didn't want to just assume that's what we were a part of. But talking with Johnny, as you mentioned, it was just so wide open and clear that this is what God wanted us to do, and this is where the need was. So that's what we'll be doing. And on the 28th of this month, August, we'll be full-time missionaries. That is crazy to think about. And it's getting more real. We got the movers coming out soon. And
So tell us a little bit about that, guys, because, I mean, are you moving? You're going to have this nice, cushy salary that's guaranteed, and, like, that's what this, Okay.
That's what we would have liked to believe. But like I said, God made it so clear, and I believe he did this because he knew the shock that was about to overcome us. And I'd say about 6 months ago now.
Probably a little bit longer.
Probably a little bit longer. We found out that this was a fully funded on your own job, essentially. And
How long ago?
About 6 months ago.
Okay.
So, which means I kind of stumbled through that, but basically we have to raise all of our own support, every dime of it. There is no money we get from anyone else other than those that join on in a committed monthly giving relationship with us. So
That's no big deal because you have all kinds of savings, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I thought.
It's definitely, we ask the kids that go on these trips to also raise their own support. So it's kind of keeping us true and humble to the same message. That, if we believe God's going to provide for you, why don't we act on that too? And just in the little time we've been building our support family with us, it's just been so awesome to see God move. And I can be the first to tell you I didn't feel worthy enough at all to be considered a missionary rather than people giving me money to be one. But God has just shown himself so merciful and gracious through this whole process.
Have you had a mentor throughout your young adulthood, Cody, as a young man, or do you now?
Since I've been here at the church, two men in particular have really kind of taken me under their wing. And I'm kind of a knucklehead. I know you couldn't believe that, but I'm a little hard-headed.
A little.
I need to turn her up.
Yeah. And, two guys in particular that I just can't thank the Lord enough for. One being Paul Brandon, and his loving kindness towards us, and just taking us under our wing, and as a marriage and as a man, just really teaching me things that I had no clue about. And then Ron Hoffman, who has kind of mentored me in speaking and just kind of what being a pastor kind of looks like towards the future, things like that, and more of how to manage a family and some of the things us young millennial folks don't really think about too much.
Yeah. Guys, I'm just kind of all over the board with my questions. I'm just going to kind of fire them at you. But what is that one fear that just keeps creeping up on you as you guys take this huge leap of faith? Depending on God for your support, your finances, and all those things. But what is that one fear you just got to keep pushing aside?
I'd say, and we're still in the thick of it right now, we'll be arriving in Woodstock towards the beginning of September. And we still are not sure where we're going to live. And
I would say that's a biggie, huh?
I don't enjoy this home buying experience one bit. And it's just been hard. We've been praying. We've had a lot of heartbreak in it of finding a house that we like. We know we could work with and through and stay there and minister through. But all of them fall through. And we are on our second offer now, still waiting to hear back at this moment. So it's scary, and but we know God's going to provide, and we don't know how, we don't know when, but we know He's going to do it. And we're firm in that.
Cody, have you, in this journey, have you ever had doubts? And what did you do with those doubts?
For the calling?
For the calling.
Not a single doubt. And which is hard, because coming from an atheist background, you doubt everything you hear. As soon as something's said, you instantly doubt it. And from the first moment that God said you're going to move to Woodstock, my prayer was said, God, just shut any door that's not from you. And He has absolutely answered that. And it is, if we were to not take this path, I have no idea what we would do. and that the way of obedience is the only way we can go right now, and I don't want it any other way.
Yeah, I don't think that there's ever been a doubt of the calling that the Lord has placed on our lives and on their marriage. I mean, I think that you have to, in your mind and in your heart, be able to differentiate doubts and fears. Mm-hmm. Because I know when we first started walking through it, it wasn't fearful at all when, we were still a year out and things like that. But as it's gotten closer and as we've began to have those support raising, just things come up and, talking with people, and then, we're a couple of weeks out from leaving and things like that. It's just, it's reminding myself that being fearful and doubting are two very different things. And it's not even so much of fear that the Lord isn't going to provide. I think it's just fear of the unknown. Mm-hmm. And I kind of walked through this when I went to Africa. I was like, Lord, I have no idea how you're going to provide $12,000 in 6 months. But the Lord just kind of gives you a little bit of light, just enough for your next step. Mm-hmm. And I've really learned that if He completely unveiled the picture and showed you all the light, you would become so overwhelmed by what the Lord is really calling you to do. I think that He protects us in that way of showing us that little light at a time. So that has been probably the most that we've dealt with of, just kind of walking through it together, not doubting, but just being like, okay, Lord, when's that little bit of light coming? And He always provides it right before you take the step. There's that little bit of light of what you're stepping into.
Yeah, I think of Moses when he had to part the waters and he had to put his feet in first before they were parted, and just that step of faith that requires before He provides the way.
Yeah.
There's an act of obedience. I want you to tell us, because I don't think you have, but if I missed it, just let me know. Tell us a little bit more about Global Year. What is Global Year?
So Global Year as a ministry, they find 18 to 25-year-olds to basically just spend 9 to 11 months on a foreign country. We're in 12 different countries right now. Each of our locations is a little bit different in what they're doing for the ministry, whether it's working in Christian school, we have a basketball camp location, we have orphanages. It's kind of across the board on what all is offered. But it's immersing yourself in another culture, another language, but for the kingdom. And so Global Year is a vehicle. It mobilizes people to the nations, and so that is, I guess, our main priority as a ministry is to find those 18 to 25-year-olds that are feeling that calling on the Lord and just helping them through that process. I remember being 18. That was never presented to me as an option. It was go to college, get a career, or go in the military. And none of those things are bad. We don't discourage kids from any of those. The best way I explain it to kids is this is not an instead of, it's a step to those things. And I just learned so much as an 18, 19-year-old out from underneath my mom, but not on a college campus, learning how to stand on my own 2 feet. So that is kind of our goal as a ministry, is to send those students out.
And how will you find those students?
We, the big part, they're very popular in the Southeast right now, but us coming along, we want to extend this out, not just Alaska, but the entire West Coast of, you can make your plans, you can do that, but have you asked God what you're supposed to do? Have you really put Him first in that? So our first, I guess our charge is going to be to youth pastors. And are you challenging your kids to think bigger? And just establishing relationships with them. We'll be going to youth camps and conferences, but just my heart is to contact the youth pastors and really put a charge on their heart to then charge their students and see what does the future look like for you, and how is that advancing the kingdom rather than just yourself? Because there's so many people who can give a testimony towards trying to chase this American dream. And, it just didn't fulfill that deep desire within the way living for Christ does.
Thinking back 5 years ago, Cody, could you have ever seen yourself doing what you're about to do?
You know, I really don't think so. I really don't think so. And
Absolutely
Alexis,
not.
you can't see her, but she is sitting here like she's going to get a real kink in her neck if she...
No, absolutely not. I would have not. At
No.
least me personally.
and we get it. We know this is a crazy idea. We're not just sitting here blinded because we're in it. We know. We understand, like, this is a big step for you. But will you trust God in that?
Yeah.
Suppose somebody's listening and they would like more information, or they'd like to give you some money to help support you. How would they contact you?
So if you're looking for information regarding the ministry, either you have a student or you are a student wanting to know what more like a global year looks like, you can visit our website at globalyear.org. And that'll basically give you a lot of our questions that are frequently asked, but also an email address to get in contact with one of the people on staff to where they can contact you and ask, see if there's any specific questions. And then for us personally, if you're wanting to talk with us, you can contact me. My telephone number is area code 334-315-0329. And then my email address is just alexiscline13@yahoo.com.
Perfect. Anything else you guys want to share before we close the show for today?
You know, if you're hearing all this and you think, maybe not a global year per se, but God's calling you to some crazy things, and you don't know how it's going to work out, can I just encourage you to take a step of faith and put a little bit of effort into it? You know, God doesn't make all the steps for us. I don't believe that. I think he gives us room to kind of figure things out on our own, and because he sees your heart. And if your heart's in it, the steps are going to be guided right. If your heart is to honor him and glorify him in everything you do, the steps are going to guide themselves. So take that step. We're right in the middle of it, and it's crazy, but you know what? I wouldn't want to do anything else in life. And I'm just so thankful for the call and to be doing this with the sweetheart that I got. I'm a little rough on her, but she's so sweet, and I could not imagine spending life with anyone else. She is truly the greatest wife in the world.
Listen, you guys, I don't know, if this is out of the bounds of what you can do being a part of Global Year, but could you do like a blog or something, or a video vlog where we could kind of follow you guys through this journey?
So what we're hoping to do is send out a newsletter once a month.
A vlog, Alexis. No newsletter, a vlog.
I will try to do a vlog, but we will see. No, we definitely are going to be sending out newsletters and updates. If you are like, I can't give right now, but I would love to keep in contact with you guys, just shoot me an email, and I'll get you guys put on our newsletters. And then you can find us on Facebook. But that's going to be probably the easiest way, just until we get there and get established and figure out where we're going to live.
Right.
All right. Well, I sure would like you guys to consider that, Cody. I will miss your speaking and your sermons. You're awesome. And there's just no doubt that you're called to this. It's just been a tremendous blessing to take part in just hearing you grow and teach. So consider
Thank
it.
you.
I'd like to keep hearing from you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us again today, and we will be praying you through this journey. Thank you so much. And that is another Living Well program. And again, you can find us here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on KATB 89.3 in Anchorage, as well as KJLP 88.9 in Palmer. And you can also listen online at katb.org. We'll join you next Wednesday.